Thank you for joining us for the 2-minute drills. I'm Aram Legion, joined on my left by Steve Ramirez and behind the camera, Fred J. Robledo.
Yes, sir.
Week 15, ladies and gentlemen.
15?
Yeah, week 15.
This is the first time for us.
Yes, it's the first time for everyone. Pretty much everyone, I should say. These are the state regional bowl games, and what we're specifically talking about is the Division III AA state regional bowl game between Oceanside, 9-4, at La Mirada, which would be, Stevie, what are we here? 11-3.
What do they call these? What they are? The South State Regional Championship, right?
Well,
that's what it is. It's the South Regional Championship in their division.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is, what people get confused of is that they're not the traditional, beginning of the year, this team's Division 3, this team's Division 4. What they did is there's 26 teams in Southern California, and they're kind of ranked. So like Mission Viejo is in 1AA, and then it just kind of breaks down whatever the matchups are.
And you know, with championships and us spread out, we weren't able to do the last couple of weeks do Prep Extra live shows on Friday night, so we didn't get to talk about these championships. And I think as much as we want to talk about the game, them playing Oceanside this week, what a win, Steve, for them to beat Lucerna in the championship. You were at that game. That must have been incredible.
And the way they did it, I mean, I didn't think they would be able to run the ball the way they did against Lucerna, because Lucerna is, with Daniel Campos at linebacker, they're really good at stopping the run, and they were just massive holes, and the running back, CJ, he had a 66-yard run. There was a hole off the left side. He hits that hole really quick. There's no hesitation. Like some backs are looking.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of he goes to that hole, and then he saw another hole to the right as they approached him and cut back, and he was gone.
Yeah, and I think, Aram, you're looking at this game that's going to be happening on Friday night. I think a big thing is it's at home. La Mirada gets to play that game at home against Oceanside, a team from the San Diego section.
A Division I team from the San Diego section.
They've lost 4 games, though, right?
Yes.
Yes. What are your thoughts? You look at their schedule or try to pick it apart at all?
This is the strange thing about Oceanside. This is a team that actually finished in a 3-way tie for second, third, and fourth in the Avocado West League standings this year. They didn't even win their league. That went to Carlsbad, who's no longer around. But Oceanside went on the best run in the playoffs, and ultimately, they came away as a Division I champion, as Stevie said, down there after they beat El Camino. We don't really know, a lot of these teams.
Were there any games against Southern Section teams on that list? Anything early on?
None that I see, and that's what kind of screws things up. We're really kind of relying on what we hear and history and stuff like that. And Mike Machete, La Mirada's coach, talked about how Oceanside is a very historically great program, and they've had some great players come through there, and they've won a lot of championships. This is kind of the cream of the crop when you think about and you look at the San Diego teams, the Torrey Pines, the Carlsbads, Oceansides. These are the teams, Fred.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will. I mean, where does that eventually put them in against a team from SoCal? I don't know. Is this a top 10 team from SoCal, La Mirada? I don't think you could say they're top 10, but I think they're 10 through 15.
Yeah, I don't think when you look at what they did against some of the heavyweights of the Pac-5 earlier this year, it's hard to call them a top 10, but maybe you can. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
the way
they didn't
playing
fare any worse
the year,
against those teams.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, they played. They played Bosco as well as Bishop Amat did, almost.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, yeah. I mean, relatively speaking. So the question is really with these games is who's going to get up after that CIF championship.
That was my big question, Aaron. Because you look at these bowl games,
Yeah.
and you're right. You're playing your whole season to win a CIF championship. I mean, they're playing Lucerna last week. I doubt it's hard for me to imagine anything's going to top that. And I'm sure playing for a state championship, just the word state championship, if you get there next week, that's pretty big. But I think you're right. The effects of just winning and having to go back to practice on Monday and Tuesday after the euphoria of, emptying the Gatorade bottle on your coach and everybody celebrating on the field and enjoying it all weekend. It's hard. It's real hard. I've seen it in state basketball playoffs too, when teams win CIF championships. Even in soccer playoffs, when teams win championships and they have these regional games, they just don't get up from the same.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard, especially for the winners. And that's what's different, because in those other ones, you had semifinalists and finalists get a second shot at life, so to speak,
Yeah.
in the state championships. Here, these are all CIF champions, so they're all kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, but I think with La Mirada, they saw how the school reacted to the basketball team, who was, like you said, they lost in the CIF section playoffs, but then they came back and won a state title, and they saw how the school kind of followed that, and it was a really big, because it was so unexpected, and
But again, Steve, those are more important for the teams that lose those finals, because they feel like I've got a second shot now at winning a championship. These teams have all won their titles.
That's true, but I think those players saw that, and now they want to.
Yeah. And the flip side of that, Aram, is maybe you play a little looser. Maybe you go in this with nothing to lose, and you're just playing football.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's great if you're an underdog, but I'm not sure that's the case in this game for La Mirada. I think this is probably more in the range of a toss-up. To answer your worries, at least as it pertains to this game, Mike Machete, said on Sunday, La Mirada's head coach, told me that this is what they play for, this is what they practice for. Not winning CIF, but winning state. He said that's their number one goal.
Really?
Yeah, all year. That's what they lift every weight for. That's what they run sprints for. When they realized that they could be playing in a 15th and a 16th game, those became their goals. They're not shooting for the Southern Section title. Now, do you believe that? Do you look at the celebration last week after Lucerna, that great big exhale, and all the hugging and all the water flying and all that stuff? Do you look at that and say, boy, I really believe this team has something bigger on the horizon?
When did Machete tell you that?
He told me that on Sunday, the day.
Yeah,
the 2 days after
it's an easier
the
thing to say after you won a championship, I think.
I'm just saying I don't buy it.
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people buy it. I'm not even sure.
I think it's what you're supposed to say as a coach after you won a championship.
But here's the thing.
Convince his players.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Both teams have the same problem. So and then that makes it sort of a flip. So as people picking the game, which is what we're about to do, all we can do is assume we're going to get La Mirada's best shot, and we're going to get Oceanside's best shot. And in that case, I like La Mirada to win this game. Like I said, Fred, they may not be top 10 in SoCal, but they're certainly in the 10 to 15 range. They've blown everybody out in the playoffs pretty much, and these are some good teams. I think Oceanside will be better than anyone they've played so far in the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah.
But I think La Mirada at home is going to pull this off somewhere in the 4 to 6 point range.
Yeah, I mean, following. I've been kind of following this procedure, and the thing, from the Cal High Sports site, and they do a really good job on their video, and they were saying Oceanside, the committee was going to kind of struggle what to do with Oceanside because they're such a big school, but they don't have that traditional 11-1, 12-1 record.
No.
So it's going to be tough. But I think the way La Mirada plays, I think they have a chance to win this game, just the way they run the ball.
Yeah, not knowing anything about these two teams and Oceanside being a Division I school from the San Diego section, I'm going with Oceanside. Mm-hmm. I think that they're probably a team traditionally who's played tougher teams. I'm sure their schedule down there is pretty tough, and I just it's one of those games you don't know enough about them. But I'm going to pick them based on that history, and we'll see what happens.
Right, okay, so Stevie and I have La Mirada. Freddie has Oceanside. This is Friday night at La Mirada High. Expecting a pretty big crowd, everybody, so get out there early and enjoy it.